to recognize the fact that we have some guests here this afternoon. The VMR competition cheerleaders are here to recognize, help us recognize the spirit of these last, that screen is not supposed to be going up, the last about 6 weeks of this activity of reading the Fantasy Reading League. So if we can just acknowledge the VMR competition cheerleaders. Okay, I just want to share with you very quickly, and I hope a lot of you already know this, but if you don't, then I'm sharing it with you for the very first time. So, in the audience, when we had the kickoff assembly to the Fantasy Reading League, there was a journalist. That journalist was from National Public Radio, or NPR, which is probably the most recognized, respected news agency in the country and in the world. It was not Fox News, it was not CNN, it was not WBZ Channel 4 in Boston, it was National Public Radio. That is just that, it's radio, but because of online stories and how internet is such a big part of media coverage of stories, NPR has really increased their audience globally and nationally. NPR was in the audience about 6 weeks ago, and that in itself is unbelievable recognition of what we do as a school, what you do as students, and what the adults who led you these last 6 weeks do as educators. To get NPR to any school takes a lot, and to be honest, what schools sometimes do is they put out press releases. And in that press release, they might invite the press to come. But it's very rare when press do come. And the fact that NPR did come, that was again, sincere recognition and validation of the work that we do. He did a story, his name was Peter, I'm actually forgetting his last name, but he did a story on the Fantasy Reading League. If you are part of Mrs. Bougerie's team, or Mrs. Wigger's team, or Mrs. Menard's team, I believe he followed these 3 teams into their first huddle. He did a story where he posted that story on NPR, and that story attracted the attention of over 2 million Twitter followers and about 400,000 Facebook members, and it was discussed and talked about in over 17 states. There are 3 schools right now that are doing a fantasy reading competition or about to do a fantasy reading competition, not because we as a school Googled it and we thought it was a great idea. We as a school came up with the idea. We were the first school to ever do it. And those 3 other schools, one is in the state of Washington, one is in the state of Illinois, the other is Bellingham Middle School. Those 3 schools will be doing their Fantasy Reading League, and they are already in contact with me about the different things that we did and advice to how they can do it. If there's one thing about the story on NPR that really made all the readers kind of sit back and say, what an amazing, amazing school we are, it was the fact that every adult, our head custodian, our nurse, our secretary, was a reading coach and led the reading. So I think we all should just put our hands together and recognize all the people. But we just recognized the adults who played a role in the Fantasy Reading League. I want to introduce to you Mrs. Tasker, who is going to be having all of us recognize the students who led us, the student leaders and readers who led us in this Fantasy Reading League. If you could put your hands together, please, for Mrs. Tasker.
Thank you, Cecil. I just want to say that it is a true privilege to be able to be a part of a competition that brings such a love of books and learning to the entire school. It's something that's very close to my heart, and I've loved the past 8 weeks with all of you. And of course, we're here to celebrate those 8 teams that made the playoffs and announce our Super Bowl winner. But the truth is, across all 50 teams, we had students who showed true excellence, and you deserve to be recognized. So I crunched the numbers and determined the top reader for each of our 50 teams, and we would like to recognize those top readers today by giving them a certificate. So what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to read off the name of your team, the number of minutes the student read, and your name. If your name is called, I'm going to ask you to start lining up right here down the back of the hallway in order of how I called your name. So everybody ready? All right, so first, and this is not in any particular order, and it's also, I would ask that you hold your applause until I've called all of the names. So we'll wait till the end to hold our applause. So first, from Dr. Laporte's team, with 3,370 minutes, Alana Astapenis. And that's a fantastic amount of minutes, but I'm just going to ask that you hold your applause till the very end. Thank you. From Mr. Cameron's team, Joey Dutton. From Mrs. Hannon's team, and Joey had 2,345 minutes, Joey. From Mrs. Hannon's team with 675 minutes, Victoria Lemieux. From Mr. Healy's team with 1,550 minutes, Casey Goyette. From Mr. Hebert's team with 2,144 minutes, Brooke DaCosta. From Mr. Hook's team with 720 minutes, Stephen Vincent. From Mr. Kiley's team with 1,977 minutes, Jordan DaCosta. From Mr. McCourt's team with 594 minutes, Zachary DeSrogers. From Mr. Nurburn's team with 2,673 minutes, Haley Lanigan. From Mrs. Abizla's team with 1,188 minutes, Zach Henry. From Mrs. Adams' team with 4,470 minutes, Sarah Vargas. And Mrs. Adams' team actually had 2 MVPs. Also from Mrs. Adams' team with 5,357 minutes, Nia Gnotto. From Mrs. Icardi's team with 435 minutes, Logan Taft. From Mrs. Bagnosh's team with 3,240 minutes, Erin Brown. From Mrs. Blanchard's team with 2,280 minutes, Susanna Valdez. From Mrs. Bougerie's team with 1,400 minutes, Logan Humphreys. From Mrs. Carroll's team with 2,538 minutes, Shaylee Hollis. From Mrs. Cusack's team with 2,755 minutes, Jessica DeSrogers. From Mrs. Dano's team with 690 minutes, Natalie Hawkins. From Mrs. Dancero's team with 659 minutes, Christina Pettarella. From Mrs. Denomi's team with 659 minutes, Stacy Wanya. From Mrs. Dextray's team, 2,520 minutes, Megan Dakey. From Mrs. Decca's team, actually, I'll read her. From Mrs. Finelli's team, 1,278 minutes, Jacob Chaplin. From Mrs. Finnegan's team, 1,670, Lauren Wagner. From Mrs. Hardy's team, 920 minutes, Grace Dowry. From Mrs. Elaverdi's team, 524 minutes, Noah Laren. From Mrs. Laren's team, just quiet. From Mrs. Laren's team, 3,700 minutes, Damien LaHouse. Also from Mrs. Laren's team also had 2 MVPs with 5,152 minutes, Haley Moore. Mrs. Levitt, 935 minutes, Christina Swenson. From Mrs. Lyons' team, 1,948 minutes, Shannon Sacco. Mrs. Maurice's team, 1,310 minutes, Skylar Duty. Mrs. 1,860 minutes, Carissa Penta. For Mrs. Miganelli's team, 1,710, Haley Puritan. For Mrs. Riley's team, 3,534, Elena Monson. Mrs. Rose's team, 1,249, Brooke Puccini. Mrs. Russell's team, 1,920 minutes, Rachel Morrison. Mrs. Stott's team, 2,400, Antonia Marino. Mrs. Simonetti's team, 4,260, Jordan Staples. Mrs. St. Germain's team, 2,610, Mateo Warwick. Mrs. Stephanik's team, 675 minutes, Ethan Stearman. Mrs. Tasker's team, my team, 4,849, Julia Monaco. Mrs. Turgeon's team, with 3,186 minutes, Stanley Biss. Mrs. Wigger's team, with 1,369 minutes, Maggie Long. Ms. Kozlowski's team, with 1,960 minutes, Sarah Williams. Ms. Lesburn's team, with 536 minutes, Alyssa Huff. Ms. Solari's team, with 1,835 minutes, Jacob Horn. Ms. Vogue's team, with 3,044 minutes, AJ Axon. And we do have some students who are absent. For Mr. Liard's team, with 450 minutes, Casey Ryan. For Mr. Lynch's team, 769 minutes, Grace Bodge. And for Mrs. Duncan's team, 1,445 minutes, Kaden Holmes. And for Mrs. Grace's team, 1,140 minutes,
Hold on.
Julia Poirier. So I'd like you to give a big round of applause.
Our BMR competition cheerleaders do need to leave right now, so let's just thank them for being a part of this celebration. So we are building to the big announcement, and I have to let you know the winner is here. Okay, it's in this envelope, but I do not know who the winner is. There are 8 teams left. Joey, we are one of the 8. I want to just share, though, the award that I received as a coach. I don't know if I ever showed anybody. I'm a very humble guy. Humble, of course, means sometimes I can be very shy. I don't like to brag. Really not that competitive. I want to just share my award. Just give me a minute. It's a little small. It's back here somewhere. If you Quiet, please. If you're at all interested in what the coaches get, or the winning coach, you're looking at it right here. Now, Joey's up here because he's the MVP of my team for this year. So I'm pretty confident in saying Joey can hold on to this. I think what my team might do when that winner is announced, when my team is announced in about 15 minutes, we're gonna treat this kind of like the Stanley Cup. This is gonna have an opportunity to be at everybody's house for maybe a weekend or so. I do want to share though that even though I am a competitive guy, I like to think of myself. As, when I do lose, I recognize that loss. I learn from it, my team learns from it. I just want to share with you, I don't know how well you can see it. So when Mrs. Turgeon and when we recognized those adults who stepped in for adults when they were absent, there was one week where I was not in the building, and Mrs. Turgeon did have to step in, and she led that coach's huddle for her team. She led the coach's huddle for my team. Mrs. Turgeon and I made a bet, and that is, it just so happened that not only was she standing in place of me and giving my team a pep talk, the irony in that is she was giving my team a pep talk when her team and my team were facing each other in that week's bracket. Mrs. Turgeon and I made a little bet, and that bet was the team that lost that week, the coach would have to put on a Clifford the Big Red Dog costume and visit an elementary school. So being the great sport I am, I just wanted to share with you, there you have me on November 11th, taking pictures. It's on the it's on the district Facebook page.
Time out. That's not true. How many of you actually think that is Mr. Cameron?
Thank you. Nick, I see you. You're there for me.
To prove that I have the costume, it just came in. He never. That's not.
So let me get this straight. That costume had a head on it. This costume, the head is on top of my head.
That's so we all know who it really is.
So you all know who it is. Mrs. Turgeon, in the competitive spirit, would you be willing to do almost a double or nothing with me? I'll make you a bet. If or when my team is called up and it is announced that Joey and I, along with my team, has won, I walk off the stage with this belt around my waist, and you outfit yourself as Clifford the Big Red Dog. Of course, what that means, I now hear my wife in my mind right now, sharing with me what that means. What that means is, if my team does not win, Joey, we hand off the belt to the winning team, and I am putting this uniform on at the end of this assembly. Tell you that a lot of this was due to the fact of the adults who were your coaches, but Mrs. Tasker was really the person behind the scenes. So I'm bringing her to stage so she can recognize, I think she's going to bring the total field of 8 teams down to 3. Don't worry, Joey, we have this. But I also want to bring her up here because I want to present her. Joey, hold this, please. I'm going to give that to Mrs. Turgeon in about 10 minutes. I want to present Mrs. Tasker with this t-shirt, which says it all. The book was better. Mrs. Tasker.
Thank you. I have something purple square for the basketball game today. And I want to say that I'm, as one of the 8 teams that made the playoffs, I'm glad I didn't make a bet with you, Mr. Cameron, because I don't want to wear that. Okay, so we had 8 teams that competed in the playoffs. I think it was last weekend. Mrs. Laren's team, Mrs. Dextray's teams, Mrs. St. Germain's team, Mrs. Adams' team, Dr. Laporte's team, Mr. Cameron's team, my team, Mrs. Tasker's team, and Mrs. Simonetti's team. So let's give them all a round of applause. However, there were 3 teams of those playoff teams. 3 of those teams averaged over 400 minutes that weekend. Several students read over 1,000 minutes that weekend, and we verified that that was true. So I would like to call those 3 teams up to the stage right now. So if the,
Can I call my team first?
well, just hold on, Mr. Cameron. Just wait. We'll see. So we will. I'll have the coach and any of the students on the team. Please come up. So we will start with Mrs. Adams' team. Next we have Mrs. Laren's team. And finally, the final team that made the top 3, Mr. Cameron.
Can I announce it? I'll let her announce it.
The final team is Dr. Laporte's team. So, would you like to know what you may win?
Well, we know what the teacher will win. So I just want to take about 5 seconds to recognize there was a group of 7th grade, I think mostly girls, who brought in close to 300 toys. They will be taking the school over on the half a day before vacation. However, one of these teams behind me will be taking the school over on a complete full day of school when we return from the winter break.
So I would like to announce the Super Bowl champions of Hartnett Middle School's Fantasy Reading League 2015. And the winner is
students, Mrs. Laren. I suppose I have to pay up as well. What kind of society do we live in when you're happier about who lost? Where's Mrs. Turgeon? Come here and help me. I see my team out there and you're way too happy. Let's give a final round of applause for Mrs. Laren. Suggested to me that a video that was made just about a week ago on Giving Tuesday was suggested to me that we might find a chance to watch this as a school. So you may talk, but stay in your seats. I don't want to see any more students come up here for balloons. Let me cue that video up because we can end this assembly with a focus upon the holiday season.
So I want to talk today about money and happiness, which are two things that a lot of us spend a lot of our time thinking about, either trying to earn them or trying to increase them. And a lot of us resonate with this phrase, so we see it in religions and self-help books, that money can't buy happiness. And I want to suggest today that in fact that's wrong. And in fact, if you think that, you're actually just not spending it right. So that instead of spending it the way you usually spend it, maybe if you spent it differently, that might work a little bit better. It also, money often makes us feel very selfish and we do things only for ourselves. And we said, well, maybe the reason that money doesn't make us happy is that we're always spending it on the wrong things, and in particular that we're always spending it on ourselves. And we thought, I wonder what would happen if we made people spend more of their money on other people. So instead of being antisocial with your money, what if you were a little bit more pro-social with your money? And we thought, let's make people do it and see what happens. So let's have some people do what they usually do and spend money on themselves, and let's make some people give money away and measure their happiness and see if in fact they get happier.
Each one of you is getting $5. We're gonna go on a bus. When the bus arrives, should be any minute, and we're gonna go to Dunkin' Donuts. You may choose to buy something for yourself, or you may choose to buy something for the people at the town offices, which is the police station, the senior center, and the fire station.
It's when you give and not receive.
Giving Tuesday is the day after Black Friday and Cyber Monday. We just give instead of receive.
Coffee colada.
Strawberry colada.
Got the same thing.
We got a dozen donuts in a box of dough, and there's just like cream in here.
How's it going? Good, how are you? Not too bad. Want to give on Giving Tuesday?
A donut and some coffee.
Oh, thank you very much. Okay? Okay with me.
Do you want anything in it?
I I drink mine black.
Okay.
I make it easy. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, good luck. Happy
Thank you
holiday.
very much.
Happy-
You're welcome.
Hope you have a nice holiday.
Thank you.
All right, so let's flip them over and let's discuss.
Okay, so we received $5 and we could give it away. We could buy something for like the police or like the elderlies, like at Dunkin' Donuts, or we could keep the $5 and buy something for ourselves. And I picked to give something away. And the question is, on a scale of 1 to 5, how did you feel when you received the $5? 1 being just okay and 5 being a feeling of supreme happiness. And I picked 5 because like $5, like if you get that from your principal, I get kind of happy because it's money and you can do anything you want with it.
I picked a 4 because I was a little questionable. I didn't know what we were gonna do.
Picked 5 because like it's good when a principal just calls you down in the office and gives you $5. Like that never happens.
I put a 4 because I liked that I was getting money, but I still wasn't too sure about it.
I picked a 5 because like a principal doesn't normally just call you down to the office and gives you $5. Like that never ever happens. It's like you feel happy that you're getting money.
I picked a 3 because at that point I didn't know what was going to happen. So I was like in the middle about it because it's like, you know, it's not every day that your principal hands you $5. So, and I wasn't like quite happy about it, but I was like questioning it.
And for the second question, 24 hours later, on a scale of 1 to 5, how do you feel now about what you did?
I picked 5 because it's making someone happy and you're buying them coffee and donuts and they did something good for us, so why not do something good for them?
I picked a 5 because kind of like what Molly said. You gave it to someone who helped you and you just helped them back.
I picked 5 because it feels good to give to other people, even though I'm kind of jealous that they got it. I still feel really good about giving.
I put a 5 because I thought it's just really nice to give to people rather than to get.
I circled a 1 because like you know that you could have got something for someone who helped you, but like you didn't, and like you just feel bad.
Well, first of all, I kept my $5 and I think I picked a 1 because I knew I could have picked but to give to others, but now like with what we got, I feel like I should have gave.
You first bought it, how were you?
Like a 4 probably.
Like a 4? So you were
Yeah.
happy right away. So instant gratitude, instant gratification. But as time passes, the people who gave away are feeling better and better and better, and you're not so much, right? So how would you define the best Christmas ever?
By giving?
By giving children that don't have a lot of stuff to give stuff to them and like all other people and giving away stuff like that.
Because, I think we have to look at our own lives, and we're very fortunate, and we will be receiving. I'll get presents, I'll give presents, but ultimately you have conducted a social experiment to prove that it feels better to give than it does to receive.
What did we find when we called them back at the end of the day? People who spent money on other people got happier. People who spent money on themselves, nothing happened. It didn't make them less happy, it just didn't do much for them. And the other thing we saw is that the amount of money doesn't matter that much. So people thought that $20 would be way better than $5. In fact, it doesn't matter how much money you spent. What really matters is that you spent it on somebody else rather than on yourself. What we see again, though, is that the specific way that you spend on other people isn't nearly as important as the fact that you spend on other people in order to make yourself happy, which is really quite important. So you don't have to do amazing things with your money to make yourself happy. You can do small, trivial things and yet still get these benefits from doing this. And so I'll just say, I think if you think money can't buy happiness, you're not spending it right. The implication is not, you should buy this product instead of that product, and that's the way to make yourself happier. It's in fact that you should stop thinking about which product to buy for yourself and try giving some of it to other people instead.
Yes, but what I love about the essential question of this experiment, everyone thinks they know the answer to it. The essential question, can money make you happy?
Yes.